The Galactic Hunting Council had never seen anything like it. For 3,000 cycles, the most elite predators from across 17 star systems had attempted the Void Stalker hunt on Kepler 442c. The beast was a legend, a creature of pure nightmare that had claimed the lives of Thrakari assassins, Velkhorn shadow dancers, and even the cybernetically enhanced Zephyrian death squads. Its hide was impervious to plasma fire. Its speed defied physics, and its intelligence rivaled that of the greatest military strategists in known space. The betting pools had closed at astronomical odds against success. No one survived an encounter with a Void Stalker. No one even got close enough to confirm the creature's actual appearance. Only scattered sensor readings and the occasional dying scream transmitted across comm channels before static consumed everything. That's when Marcus Chen submitted his application. The council chamber erupted in what could generously be called polite skepticism when his hologram flickered to life before the assembled alien dignitaries. Chen stood barely 2 meters tall, possessed no visible weapons beyond an ancient projectile sidearm, wore simple cloth garments instead of advanced armor, and carried what appeared to be rope. Actual rope, made from organic fibers. Honored hunters, Chen said, his voice carrying that peculiar human inflection that somehow managed to sound both respectful and slightly amused. I understand the Void Stalker has been giving you folks some trouble. Ambassador Thexlo of the Thrakari Empire, whose species had evolved from apex predators on a world where everything had evolved to kill everything else, clicked her mandibles in what humans had learned to recognize as incredulous laughter. Human, our greatest warriors have fallen to this beast. What could your species possibly offer that we have not already attempted? Chen's response was a smile, not the threatening display of teeth that most predator species use to intimidate rivals, but something uniquely human, warm, confident, and somehow conveying the impression that he knew something they didn't. Well, ma'am, I reckon you've been thinking about this all wrong. The next day, Chen's ship touched down on Kepler 442c's storm-ravaged surface. He declined the offer of orbital bombardment support, refused the experimental weapons package, and politely turned down the Zephyrian offer of mind-linked tactical coordination. Instead, he shouldered a simple pack containing water, dried food, medical supplies, and approximately 50 meters of braided synthetic rope. The hunting ground was a maze of crystalline formations that jutted from the planet's surface like broken glass. Sensor scans revealed a labyrinth of caves and tunnels beneath, where electromagnetic interference made tracking impossible. Previous hunters had used overwhelming firepower, stealth technology, or pack tactics. All had failed. Chen studied the terrain for exactly 17 minutes, then began walking toward the largest crystal spire with the casual gait of someone taking a pleasant stroll. He was humming. The Void Stalker struck on the second day. Chen had made no attempt at stealth, built fires at night that could be seen for kilometers, and appeared to be conducting what the monitoring stations could only describe as aggressive landscaping, using his rope to bind crystal formations together in seemingly random patterns. When the attack came, it was faster than sensors could track. One moment, Chen was tying knots around a particularly large crystal. The next, something massive and invisible had struck like a meteor where he'd been standing, shattering stone and sending debris flying. The monitoring station held its collective breath, waiting for the inevitable silence that had marked the end of every previous hunt. Instead, they heard laughter. Gotcha! Chen's voice crackled through the comm system, followed by what sounded like singing. The humans had a curious habit of vocalizing during stress that other species found deeply unsettling. What the sensors eventually pieced together defied belief. The Void Stalker, a creature the size of a small starship, capable of limited invisibility and armed with claws that could slice through starship hulls, was suspended 30 meters above the ground, tangled in an impossibly complex web of rope that Chen had somehow woven through the crystal formations. The creature thrashed and roared, its camouflage failing as it struggled, revealing a magnificent beast of scales and fury that had terrorized the galaxy's greatest warriors. Chen sat on a nearby rock, completely relaxed, watching his catch with the satisfaction of someone who had just solved a particularly interesting puzzle. The thing about hunting, he explained to the stunned monitoring station, is that most folks think it's about being stronger or faster or sneakier than your prey. But sometimes it's about being smarter and patient and knowing that every creature, no matter how dangerous, has patterns. He gestured at the trapped void, stalker with obvious appreciation. Beautiful creature, really. Apex predator, perfect killing machine. But like most perfect killing machines, it's got one weakness. It's too perfect, too confident. Sees a bumbling human making noise and thinks easy prey. Doesn't occur to it that the bumbling might be deliberate. The rope web was a masterpiece of engineering that had taken Chen 2 days to construct. Every knot precisely placed, every tension point calculated. He'd used the creature's own speed and mass against it, turning its greatest strengths into the very trap that held it. Now, Chen said, standing and brushing dust from his pants, who wants to help me get this magnificent animal back to a proper habitat? I'm thinking the preserve on Titan IV would be perfect. Plenty of space to roam, good hunting, and most importantly, no more random warriors showing up to bother it. The Galactic Hunting Council officially retired the Void Stalker hunt the Uyuro following day. They also quietly began studying human hunting techniques, particularly something the humans called persistence hunting, and their inexplicable ability to find simple solutions to complex problems. Marcus Chen returned home to a hero's welcome, though he insisted the real achievement belonged to his rope. When asked how he'd known his plan would work, he just smiled that particularly human smile and said, "Sometimes the impossible just needs a little creativity and a lot of good rope." The Void Stalker, for its part, seemed quite content in its new home, where it became something of a celebrity among xenobiologists and the only creature in the galaxy with a human-made rope. Toy.